Today on Upfront, Republican candidate for Attorney General Brad Schimel. He's been in the race for months but didn't have a primary. How will he introduce himself to voters, and what's his case for being Wisconsin's so-called top cop? My extended interview with Brad Schimel is next. Then Congress has a job approval rating of just 14%. Will that and an unpopular president spell defeat for Democratic incumbents this fall? I'll ask Congressman and Democrat Ron Kind.
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Up Front. It's not the top of the ticket, but the race for Wisconsin Attorney General has all the makings of a tough, competitive contest. Waukesha County District Attorney Brad Schimel, the Republican, faces off against Jefferson County DA Susan Happ, the Democrat. We had Susan Happ here for an extended interview 2 weeks ago, and today we're doing the same thing with the Republican candidate, Brad Schimel. Mr. DA, thanks very much for being with us again.
Thank you, Mike. Great to be here.
Well, there was a poll out last week, Marquette Law School poll, that sort of took the temperature of this race. But to me, the number that jumped out is that 3/4 of the people in this state really haven't been following this race. They don't really have an opinion of you or Sue Happ. So my question is, what are they going to learn about you in the next couple of months? What's going to be the message of the Schimel campaign?
They're going to learn that I'm the law enforcement choice in this race. I've got 85 elected sheriffs and district attorneys statewide, both Democrats and Republican sheriffs who are publicly endorsing me. I've got the endorsement of the Wisconsin Troopers Association, the Milwaukee Police Association. That's what they're going to learn. They're going to learn that I have nearly 25 years experience as a frontline prosecutor. And it's not just measured in the years of being there, but in accomplishments and leadership in my own county and statewide.
So is the distinction here your experience? You think you're the more experienced prosecutor than Susan Happ?
Well, I know I'm the more experienced prosecutor, but it's also more experienced leader. Those are both important things for the Attorney General's race.
Give me a sense of how you view this role. It is the top cop in the state. That's the term we like to attach to it. But what is your role, and how does it differ, for example, than how Susan Happ has talked about approaching this job?
Well, she hasn't talked very much about any specific plans for public safety, and Wisconsin has very serious public safety challenges in front of us. It's no time to have a leader who's going to learn while they earn. We have to have the leader of the state's law enforcement community with a plan to hit the ground running day one, and I have plans on all the different issues that are facing the state right now. And also, she's focusing very much on what she calls defending people's rights. And by that she means she's not going to defend Wisconsin's marriage amendment. She's not going to defend Wisconsin's voter ID law. She's going to use her environmental enforcement agency to try to obstruct the mining process up north. All of those things are wrong for Wisconsin, not on the issues themselves, but on the role of the Attorney General. And that's what I'm promising the people of Wisconsin. I will be their lawyer. I will defend the state's laws, and I will enforce the state's laws the way they're written. And honestly,
so you wouldn't, if you believed as an attorney that something might not pass constitutional muster, you would still defend the law anyhow?
Yes, because the job of the executive branch is not to interpret the law, it's to enforce the law. Legislature writes it, executive branch enforces it, and if it needs to be interpreted as to whether it's constitutional or not, that comes from the Supreme Court of the state of Wisconsin or the U.S. Supreme Court.
So voter ID, for instance, you would defend that law?
I will defend it until the Supreme Court gives us a determination as to whether this is legal.
And same-sex marriage ban, same thing?
Same thing. You know, the U.S. Supreme Court's going to have to decide that issue because we've got laws all around the country that they're not all identical, but they're similar enough in nature that the U.S. Supreme Court's going to have to decide whether the U.S. Constitution leaves the definition of marriage to the states under federalism or whether there are provisions in the U.S. Constitution that limit that for the states. That's a big decision, and it can't be decided by a district court judge in Madison.
I want to ask you about something that you said earlier and now I've talked about again recently, and that's the domestic partner registry law in this state. I think initially when you were asked about that, you said you wouldn't defend it, but now you say you would have defended it. Why the change in position?
You know, it was almost immediate. We were doing an interview, and we were talking about other issues, and the question kind of came out of left field. You know, my reaction was, well, the current Attorney General's not defending it. After that interview, I sat down, did some research, and I found, wait a minute, this is not clearly unconstitutional. It doesn't clearly violate our state constitutional provision. My answer should be yes, and I immediately changed that position.
So her argument, as you may have seen on this program, is that she's going to protect the rights of the people of Wisconsin, and implying that you and others would try to take away the rights of the people of Wisconsin. Your response to that?
She's got the job wrong. If she wants to be a legislator or a judge, she can run on those issues. But as the executive branch, as the Attorney General, the state's lawyer, your job isn't to make that call.
Let me touch on a couple of the big issues that I know are important to you and important in this race. Many people talk about the heroin epidemic in this state, and we've seen an explosion of heroin cases throughout the entire state. I want to get your sense of Waukesha County's been on the front lines of this. What would you do differently? What would you do that we're not currently doing to address this epidemic?
One of the things we've got to do is we've got to amp up the training to local law enforcement and to prosecutors, and amp up the resources to them. Because Waukesha County leads the state of Wisconsin in prosecuting what are called Len-Bias homicides. If you deliver drugs to someone and they die, you can be charged with first-degree reckless homicide. We're leading the state on that because way back when I first was elected DA in 2006, I set out to make sure Waukesha County law enforcement, EMS were both trained up to be able to do competent investigations, to put the prosecution together, and that our prosecution team was ready to handle them. That hasn't been replicated in every community in the state. We've got to do that. And DOJ is probably going to have to handle a lot of those cases for smaller agencies, for smaller DA's offices, but we've got to make that resource available.
Give me a sense of the drunk driving, your take on the drunk driving issue. Both you and Susan Happ do not favor making a first offense drunk driving citation a crime. Right. Which some people do in this state. Again, state your reasons for not thinking that should be a crime.
Well, actually, and I've served on the District Attorneys Association Executive Board now, and this has been the position of the WDAA, District Attorneys Association, that the legislature needs to do the homework. Find out if we've moved public safety forward in the other states by making first offense OWI a crime. If it has, then Wisconsin should think about doing this.
Because you need to see evidence. That's what you want to see evidence before you say, I would support something like that.
Right. It's expensive. Every biennium, the legislature considers doing this, and every biennium, they get the fiscal note and they back away, because ultimately they haven't seen the evidence either.
I hear you, though, leaving the door open a little bit there, if you can be convinced that there's data that suggests this might be a smart move.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the Republican candidate for Attorney General Brad Schimel. We'll talk about gun laws and talk about the state of the race. We'll be back in just a moment.
Up Front with Mike Goucher, brought to you by American Transmission Company.